Hello. Again, we begin. Again. Okay. You know what? Now we need the light. Oh, it's blinding. Okay, let's try that. Okay. So we were talking about Isaiah 22. Now we've gotten what I read. So we're going to have to read it again. 22:22 says, and let's start here in 15. Denunciation of self-seeking officials. Okay, so he's saying that they're like vying for the position of the king or something. Okay, thus says the Lord God of hosts, come, go to the steward, to Shebna, who is over the household, and say to him, what have you to do here, and whom have you here, that you have hewn here a tomb for yourself? You who hew a tomb on the height and carve a habitation for yourself on the rock. Behold, the Lord will hurl you away violently. O you strong man, he will seize firm hold of you and whirl you around and around and throw you like a ball into a wide land where you shall die, and there shall be your splendid chariots and your shame of your master's house. I will thrust you from your office, and you will be cast down from your station. In that day I will call my servant Eliakim and the son of Hilkiah. I think that was the king we were talking about. Hilkiah. Sounds familiar. And I will clothe him with your robe, and will bind your belt on him, and will commit your authority to his hand, and he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to the house of Judah, and I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. He shall open, and none shall shut, and he shall shut, and none shall open. Let's just finish this. And I will fasten him like a peg in a secure place, and he will become a throne of honor to his father's house, and they will hang on him the whole weight of his father's house, the offspring, and issue every small vessel from the cups to all the flagons. In that day, says the Lord of hosts, the peg that was fastened in a sure place will give way, and it will be cut down and fall, and the burden that was upon it will be cut off, for the Lord has spoken. So this is the whole story. I think he was like a usurper, this first guy, Shebna. And all right, let's read the notes that it's talking about. So the main section here I'm talking about is 22:22. He's talking about the shoulder. And I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. He shall open and none shall shut, and he shall shut and none shall open. Okay, so the shoulder bears the weight of government responsibility, as in 9:6. Perhaps this alludes to a ceremony that involves placing a very large wooden key on the shoulder of the steward at his installation. So he's talking about the steward of the king. The key of the house of David, symbolic of the royal authority entrusted to the chief steward, who serves directly under the Davidic king, being the king's representative. So if Jesus is the king, this would be a perfect example of his representative, the papacy, the pope, the office of the pope. So much for it being unbiblical. Okay, wow. Being the king's representative, the steward is authorized to open and shut in his name, i.e., to make binding decisions bearing on the administration of the kingdom. In the New Testament, Jesus is the Messianic king from David's line who holds the key of David and thus wields full authority over his kingdom. Revelation 3:7. So there you go. All at the same time, he elevates Peter to be his chief steward by entrusting him with the keys of the kingdom, thereby investing him with the authority to bind and loose in matters pertaining to his kingdom on earth. So that's where they get that. It's kind of a continuation of the line of David in the Old Testament. Like I said, a lot of the Catholicism is based on the old, the Jewish, some of the Jewish traditions were carried over. And, it's not necessarily, some traditions are good. It's only, Paul was talking about there's some negative. You got to realize there's both, not all tradition is bad. Okay, so all right, we started with 22, and I'm trying to see if there's any notes. Okay, 22. Okay, and I don't want to go too far back here. Okay, so Shebna, verse 15. Royal steward, prime minister of the kingdom of Judah under Hezekiah, making him second in rank to the king. He is expelled from office for excessive self-concern and by implication for neglect of government duties. He may be the same individual called Shebna the secretary in chapters 36 and 37, but this is uncertain. Over the household means part of the title borne by prime minister in ancient Israel. Okay, they have a word study for that one in 1 Kings that they refer us to. Okay, 22:16. A tomb for yourself insinuates that Shebna did more to prepare for his own future than to promote the welfare of the kingdom. Wow, this is so telling on the current, situation. Okay, wait a minute. Archaeologists have discovered a rock-cut tomb in the village of Silwan, east of Jerusalem, that dates back to the 8th century BC and was dedicated to a royal steward of Judah named Shebnayahu. So Shebna, okay, that could be him. This may well be the tomb that is mentioned in Isaiah. See, everything comes to light after time. Your splendid chariots, perhaps a stately retinue that escorted the steward around from place to place. My servant, an honorary designation for persons who are faithful to the Lord. Eliakim, once installed in office as Shebna's successor, he will play a leading role in Jerusalem's negotiations with the Assyrians in 701 BC. Your robe, your belt, outward symbols of the royal steward's authority, a father, a paternal figurehead who is to act in the best interest of the people. So, there you go. That tells you the story. That's really, referring to the papacy and how it got founded. they relied on a lot of Jewish tradition that was, let's see if we can find 1619. There it is right there. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then he strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ. So the keys, here we go. Let's see. I will build. Jesus portrays the church as a spiritual temple. As Solomon was the son of David and the anointed temple builder of the Old Testament, so Jesus is the Davidic Son of God and anointed Messiah who builds the church in the New Testament. Jesus elsewhere sees himself as both similar and superior to King Solomon. See note, okay, it's referring me to somewhere else. Among the Gospel of Matthew alone uses the word church. So it's probably alluded to in the other ones. The word is used often in the Greek Old Testament for the congregation or assembly of Israel united to God. So if you look at this, it's like the church is the fulfillment of the Old Testament covenant Israel. It's like the new covenant community. The gates of Hades, also called Sheol or the pit, is the place of the dead where souls descend through its gates. This is good stuff. He did a good job on this. It is not hell, but a temporary realm where souls are detained until the last judgment. And that's in Revelation 20. By extension, Hades is also the habitation of evil forces that bring about death and deception. Let's see, Revelation 6, 8, and 20. Okay. According to the Jewish tradition, the foundation stone, that's some Hebrew name, of Jerusalem temple capped off and sealed a long shaft leading down to the netherworld. And that's kind of what that word means, the netherworld. The temple resting securely on a rock was thus the center of the cosmos, the junction between heaven and Hades. Drawing from this background, Jesus guarantees that the powers of death and deception will not overcome the church, i.e., the new temple built on Peter. He enables Peter and his successors to hold error at bay and faithfully proclaim the gospel. I don't know. It's not looking good nowadays. Okay, let's keep going. 1619. The keys, a symbol of teaching authority. Jesus consecrates Peter as the church's chief teacher, whose office will continue on through successors. The plural use of keys may imply a connection with the gates in the 1618 and mean that Peter's position includes, among other things, the authority to release the righteous souls who are detained in Hades but destined for heaven. In the Old Testament Davidic Empire, the king appointed a cabinet of ministers for specific tasks in the kingdom. Of these, a prime minister was elevated to unique status of authority ranking second only to the king. This government structure was common among kingdoms in the ancient Near East. Let's see, Genesis 41, Esther 3. Okay. Jesus here evokes Isaiah 22, 15 through 25, where the prime minister's office is handed on to a successor by the symbolic act of handing on the keys of the house, i.e., kingdom of David. Isaiah 22, 22. In Matthew, Jesus is the new Davidic king who appoints Peter the prime minister over the kingdom of heaven in the church. As in Isaiah 22, Peter's position is designed for him and his successors. The office is meant to endure as long as the kingdom itself. Entrusted with the keys, Peter wields Christ's own royal authority. Whatever you bind, and then whatever you loose. Familiar language in early Jewish literature. The metaphor carries several connotations. One, it signifies teaching authority and the ability to render binding decisions. Rabbis were said to make binding interpretations of the law. Two, it denotes authority to include and exclude members of a religious community. So that's the power of excommunication. It signals the forgiveness of sins. And by early Christian fathers, Peter is this invested with Christ's authority as the kingdom's chief teacher and administrator. Through him, heaven governs the church on earth. Now, this is how it's supposed to work. This is like in a perfect world. Okay. I guess that's pretty much it. Satan contrasts the blessing of Peter. Jesus rebukes Peter. Confession was okay. So it continues on. But quite of in-depth study there. Hey, we got one more. Maybe we should just keep going. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, we got plenty of time. I'm just going to keep recording these. Give me something to do. Revelation. Chapter... Oh, wait, we're way further than that. This really is a nice Bible. I spilled a little wine on it. Don't tell anybody. Okay. 3:7. Okay, 3:7 is, and to the angel of the church of Philadelphia write, the words of the Holy One, the true one who has the keys, or the key of David, who opens and no one shall shut, who shuts and no one opens. It's funny because this is the one church, and if this is tied to the Roman Catholic, the true universal church, that means that Jesus is approving and saying, let's see what he says about this church. I know your works. Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no one is able to shut. I know that you have but little power, and yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. Behold, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet and learn that I have loved you, because you have kept my word of patient endurance. Wow. To keep, let's see. I will keep you because you've kept my word of patient endurance, I will keep you from the hour of trial which is coming on the whole world to try those who dwell upon the earth. I am coming soon. Hold fast to what you have, so that no one may seize your crown. He who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Never shall he go out of it. And I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. So this too, the Church of Philadelphia. Let's see. Basically the same thing. Open door, either missionary opportunities or access to the heavenly liturgy where God is perpetually worshipped. Okay, I'm going to skip some of this. Okay. The key of David, a symbol of royal Davidic authority. Jesus holds the key as a descendant of David and the messianic heir to his throne. The expression comes from Isaiah 22:22, where the keys of the house of David pass from one prime minister to another, being the Davidic king. Christ possesses the fullness of royal power, yet the church is given a share in his authority. So much for the precedence. It's right here. So, even as corrupt as the organization is, its foundations are pretty much solid. I mean, we got heretics in the church. I'm sure it was always that way, but especially now. So, that's about it. I wish you all a good day. God bless you.